11/22/63 is the date in history that John F. Kennedy was assassinated, but today's date, November 24th, is the date in history where kind of the conspiracy ball starts rolling. So as we know, on 11/22/63, that's when Lee Harvey Oswald shot and assassinated President John F. Kennedy. It was very public, right? He was in a, motorcade. There's tons of footage and photographs of everything. It was very gruesome for the American people to see. And the same thing happened when the assassin was assassinated himself 2 days later by Jack Ruby. So Jack Ruby was a local Dallas man. He owned a couple nightclubs there. And he was infuriated over everything happening with Kennedy. See, right before Kennedy was assassinated, there were a handful of ads that were anti-Kennedy, and they were signed off by somebody that he thought was a Jewish name, and Jack Ruby was Jewish himself. So he was really, really worried that, that this was going to get pinned on Jewish people as, an act of anti-Semitism, or that it was a campaign to murder the president and blame the Jews. He was convinced of that. This is 1963. This is only 20 years after World War II, which, of course, was the peak of anti-Semitism. So he and many Jewish people had, fears of what could be happening to Jewish people to blame them for, historical incidents, because there is historical precedent for that. So when these ads ran and he was already afraid of it, and then Kennedy actually gets assassinated, his mind starts going. And he's like, someone is going to blame us for this. And that's why he ultimately targeted Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald was, arrested quickly. He was immediately sent to jail. And Jack Ruby was documented to, be kind of in and out of the police station, kind of trying to find out as much as he could about Oswald and everything that was going on. And it was when Oswald was getting moved from the jail into a vehicle to be moved from another place, where Ruby kind of blended in with the reporters, and as the reporters were filming for the news, he pulled out his revolver and, again, shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald in the same kind of national television that Kennedy was killed on 2 days later. So it's because of that all the conspiracy theory started to roll in terms of Kennedy's death, because the man himself that killed him, Lee Harvey Oswald, never had to answer anything about it. We never got court dates or trials or anything to sort of put together the pieces. The key figure in all of it was missing, and that's what fueled everybody. They were like, well, maybe Ruby was working with Oswald, maybe Oswald was never the one to do it, maybe I don't have to tell you the conspiracy theories, I'm sure you know that part. But today's the date in history that's really responsible for those, because today's the date that the assassin was assassinated, and there's nothing really that we can find out from him now.